Hello, everybody. Hello, welcome. Happy Tuesday. How are y'all doing? Thank you so much for joining me tonight. I hope that you are all doing well and that you've had a great day. I apologize. I initially scheduled this for 7, but today's my son's 14th birthday. And so we kind of got a little delayed in, ending things and getting ready to join you tonight. But I thank you so much for being here. Welcome, welcome, everybody. Hi, Adriana. Thank you so much for being here. Hello, Eileen. Hi, Mr. Danny. Thank you so much for pulling up. Jesus Girl Betty, God erased my mark. Thank you for being here. Hi, Candace. Hi, Tanya. Hello, everybody, and thank you so much for being here. How are you all doing tonight? How's everybody doing today? I did say that today is Q&A, so I'm answering questions. So whatever we're going to talk about, it's all up to you today. Whatever you're putting out there, I'm answering your questions. So come on with the questions. I am ready to dive into this and help us all be narc free. Thank you, everybody, again for being here. I appreciate you all so very much and for your kindness. Um, Oh, interesting thing. I did just post on the community board the moment for gratitude, which is going to be on Thursday morning, Thanksgiving morning, where we can have brunch together, breakfast, brunch, whatever you want to call it. Pull up in your pajamas, pull up in your best dress, pull up however you want to pull up, but let's get together and have some breakfast together and just have a good time because I know Thanksgiving holiday time is usually it can be difficult for some people and some people are spending it alone this year and I didn't want you to be alone or feel alone. So we have the moment of gratitude from 9 to 11 on Thanksgiving morning. So I'm looking forward to you joining me. The information is on the community board and so I will see you all on Thursday morning. It'll be nice to, be able to finally talk to you, see your beautiful faces, and interact with you. But again, it's Tuesday night, and it is questions and answers. And so I'm here. I'm here. I did get an interesting question this earlier on today. I saw it in one of the comments, and I was like, this would be good to kind of start off the discussion with. And the lady was basically asking, like, what is it with the narcissist? She was talking, well, she was referring to her narcissistic ex who moved on with a new supply, has a new family, yet he is so consumed about her suddenly and what she's doing. And, she wants to know, well, what's up with that? Well, first of all, that's just a narc doing what narcs do. They're creatures of habit. They're never going to be happy no matter where they go, what relationship they get involved in, who they get involved with. They're just not going to be happy because they're not happy people. That's just who they are. And so she wanted to know, okay, so then why is he interested in me? Here's the thing. The narcissist, after some time with them, they're going to lose interest in you because you begin to become dull. You begin to be that old toy that they no longer need, that they played with before and are no longer interested in. But not only that, we can't neglect the fact that even though they're with the new supply, what's going on in that home is not that it's all peaches and cream. It's not always going well. Everything is not happy. They want you to believe that everything is going well. They want you to believe that you are the problem, and so they're only going to project a certain level of they're going to give out an image. They're going to give you the Kodak moments. They're not going to give you what is real and what's really going on in the home. They have to project that they are succeeding where they are. Otherwise, they would look crazy for leaving you in the first place. So while you are going through the process of healing, getting your life together, and trying to cope with whatever you've been dealt with as far as it goes with the narcissist, you know what happens? The new supply gets tired, they get worn down, they get exhausted. Their soul is being siphoned. The narc is tapping into everything that was shining, that was beautiful, that was bright about this person. Whatever attracted the narcissist to them is starting to get dull and boring now. But the narc is watching you because, again, the only narc that doesn't hover is a dead narc. The only narc that doesn't stalk is a dead narc. They watch you. They have people watching you. They have their flying monkeys watching you. Somebody is always watching you. They have to have a pair of eyes on you because the narc needs to know, where are you in this process? Is it time for me to re-indoctrinate you back into my love cult? And so while the new supply starts to get worn out, while the new supply starts to look like, I'm tired, I'm sick of this, I can't do this. This woman is crazy, she's driving me insane. I'm tired. The narc is watching you start to get your bounce back, watching you start to get your glow back, watching you start to figure out what's what, and you're finding yourself again. And so you become attractive to the narc again. And so that's why they begin to stalk you. That's why they can't let go of you. That's why they can't lose, they can't lose their focus or can't just focus on something else but you. And so, that's how I would answer that question. So Tanya's saying, are you telling my story, Joy? Listen, these narcs are all related. They are all related because they all drank the devil's Kool-Aid. So it's all of our stories. You're so right. This is what they do. They get bored with every single person, re-idolize old shoes. Oh, wow. Old shoes? Well, child, I'm a cute pair of old shoes. I know that's right. But listen, that's what they do. I mean, that's just what, that's the best way that I could answer that question. Lee Wells says that they're running on a hamster wheel of hell. Like, wow, that's the truth right there. It's a hamster wheel going round, going nowhere fast. And um that's what that's what narcissistic abuse is. It's a hamster wheel, and you're because it goes round and round, going absolutely nowhere. There is no progression. The relationship is it's dead. It's not even a relationship. It doesn't qualify to be termed as a relationship. It is a transactionship. They have to siphon your soul so that they can have some type of personality, so that they can have something to offer the next person or the next few people, so that they can have some type of something to offer, because they are nobodies. They are an empty shell. And so it's really true. So Mike wants to know, does the demon in the narcissist cause illness? No, it doesn't cause illness. Like, when you say illness, I'm not uh, are you referring to like a physical illness? Because if that's the question, physical illness, no, it's not. But as far as illness, I would say wickedness. I would say a spiritual limitation. I would say that it causes them to work against what is good for themselves. They focus on everything that is evil, everything that is toxic, everything that is bad, everything that will deliver nothing. So they just get stuck in it. But no, not like a physical illness, although, it can seem like they're physically ill because of, how it wears on their spirit. Because while narcissists they indoctrinate, right, their victims, and they work at siphoning their souls, you know what they're doing is illegal. When we really think about the creator of souls, it's illegal to steal. And so they get stuck in they get stuck in the result for them being criminals, like what how can we term this, like a spiritual thief, a spiritual robber, right? Because they're there to siphon your soul. But when you're not ordained, when you don't have legal authority to have access to certain parts of somebody's soul, you don't know how to that vessel is not built, it's not equipped to house that soul. And so that's why they may act like they're being tormented, because you don't belong in them, although they've siphoned your souls, because they've again drank the devil's Kool-Aid, believing that those parts of you are what they need, when in actuality it's not them, it's illegal, and there are repercussions for that. So even when they fail, which they're destined to fail, because again, they believe the father of all lies, they're destined to fail. So when they're not able to deliver your soul, ultimately, when they're not able to deliver your spirit at the end of the day, they are punished for that. And that's when you see them in that collapsed state, and then they get sunken in that depression, because they're tormented by their own oppressor, by their own father. So I think that's how I would term that. I am so thankful for this community too. And I'm thankful for you, Adrena. You are always here helping and helping me, keep everything going and run smoothly. So I really do appreciate you. So everybody, shout out to Adrena. You are so awesome. So Marcelo, their joy is totally fake. On social media, we find most of them, they try to cause envy and jealousy. That's the way they feel alive. And that's so true, because we know narcs are pathologically envious as well as jealous creatures. And so they are always going to, they want to make other people feel that way. So they're always trying to project those emotions onto others, because that's how they feel. And that goes back to that whole soul siphoning. They're trying to get you to feel how they feel. So backwards. They are so backwards. If only they would come into their true identity, if only they would take up, if only they would depart from what they are doing and try things another way. I was asked earlier on today, can you change a narcissist? Does a narcissist change? This lady was so distraught, because she's still in love with the narc, right? And she wanted to know, how do I help them? The best way you can help the narc is move out the way, because the longer you stay there, they actually start hating you. But in them hating you, they end up doing things that are not just bad for you, but bad for themselves too, because you cannot continue to victimize, you cannot continue to terrorize, you cannot continue to horrify God's children and there be no repercussions for you. Move out the way, let them deal with what they have, and we don't need to add to their plate. Just move out the way. There's this one meme that I keep seeing, and I mean to share it, but I keep forgetting. But it says, and I'm sure many of you have seen it, the only cue for a narcissist is death. And the reason why they say that is because they don't want the help. They don't see anything wrong with themselves. In fact, they feel like we are the problem, and therefore we are the ones who need to change. We're the ones who need to bow down and just worship them. We're the ones who need to readjust how we think. We should readjust our focus and our thoughts so that we can become more in line with them. And then there's no problem. See, they don't have the problem. According to them, it's everybody else. So no, you cannot help them. And, in helping them, what do you do to yourself? You would totally be killing your own self, like destiny suicide. You can go nowhere with the narcissist at all. Nowhere, nowhere, nowhere. And so it's just a complete waste of time. A complete waste of time. Warrior Bride said it right. They definitely have a mental illness, a depraved mind. And so if we can put it like that, then absolutely they are ill. They are they are very sick, and they need deliverance. I don't know, maybe an exorcism. Can somebody perform an exorcism so that they can get better? I don't know. I don't know. And another thing, when it comes to our moment of gratitude on Thursday, we're not talking about these narcissists. This is about us. This is a moment for us to enjoy each other and to enjoy what we have been able to accomplish in life in this year. So the focus, this has nothing to do with them. I don't want us to talk about them. I want you to share about yourselves and celebrate who you are. Celebrate the relationships that you're building, the new friendships and the new family that we are forming right here. So it is going to be about us on Thursday, not these narcissists. Okay. So I just thought I would put that out there, because you guys are the heroes here. You guys are the ones who are making the difference. And I don't want you to take away from that. So Lee says, keep trusting God and watch God move on your behalf. Stay true to the Lord Jesus Christ, and He will fight your battles. The word says to stand. When you've done all that you can do, stand. So what is it? What is the all that you can do? You can seek God, you can pray, you can fast, you can build your knowledge bank, get information, remove yourself from the situation, do everything that you can with what you have, but then stand. That's where you now start trusting God, watching Him move on your behalf, and remaining true to Him. So here's a question. What if the narc tells you, my life is good, my life was good when I was with you, but with the new supply but is with the new supply while ignoring you? How do you break the trauma bond and the sexual frustration? So, the narc's life is good with absolutely nobody. Their life is not, it was never good with you. It was never, and it's not good with the new supply. And how can I be so confident when I say that? Well, simply this: the narcissist is not happy with themselves, and happiness, like love, is an inside job. You have to have it for yourself. You have to be in a place of happiness. It's like saying, oh, I won't be happy until I get married, but then you're just going to be an unhappy person even in marriage because your spouse doesn't make you happy. So it doesn't matter who the narc is with. The narc could be with the most admired person on earth. They're never going to be happy because they are not happy within themselves. They're pathologically envious, jealous, no empathy. Like, how? There is no happiness within them at all. And when they are gathering all those souls and there's all that confusion going on the inside of them, there's no room for happiness there. So when they tell you that that I was happy with you, but I'm just gonna ignore you while I'm with this new person, that doesn't even sound, those are two, that's a contradiction right there. There's no way that, you can say that I was happy with you, but I'm gonna be with this person telling you how happy I am, meaning that I have to be miserable with this person, but I was happy with you, but I'm just gonna ignore you. You see, the narcissists, they're not logical people. So you really can't look for answers, or you can't look for anything that makes sense. The truth is that they're not happy. And that's always going to be the truth. But when it comes to breaking that trauma bond, the one thing that is so important that you do is actually step back, break the contact. That means, no contact. If there's no reason, like no children, especially young children, that you share, that means go no contact. Put them on block, delete them from your phone, delete all pictures. That's how we start getting rid of the trauma bond, the soul tie. There should be a cleansing of you. That means now we're going to delete all the pictures, delete the text thread, delete all the message threads, block the email address, block them on social media. No more are you going to start going to their pages, to their accounts, to see what they're doing and to see who they're with. Is the new supply an upgrade or a downgrade? We don't care about that anymore. We have to now look on the inside so that we can break free from that. And also going back to breaking that trauma bond, that's also like Lee had mentioned earlier, it's not putting your trust in God, going through the process of praying. And part of it involves asking for the forgiveness for this entanglement in the first place. A lot of times we ignore the signs that He gave us so that we could have what we wanted. And so there's an element on our parts. And I know, especially with my case, there was an element of pride, which I had to I had to go and repent for that and, ask for that forgiveness and the cleansing so that I would be able to now take it to the next step and be free from that sexual frustration. Because first of all, when we're engaging in acts of, in sexual activity with these creatures, think about it. We're having sex with a whole creature. We're having sex with somebody that comes into agreement against you. They're working against you. So there's nothing that they can truly provide. They take away from us when and you got to think about it like robotic sex. there's nothing to be gained there because there's no intimacy that's created. And a lot of times people say, oh, but the sex was great with the narc. No, it wasn't. You know what was great? What made the sex great is the fact that there was a connection, or what we thought was a connection. You know, what happens is they're now beginning to tap into their soul bank and delivering other people to you. And now, what am I saying here? When they're delivering other people to you, think about that the narc is an empty shell by themselves. So when they're delivering other people, they're tapping into that soul bank to get out expressions, movements, um, sounds, voices, words, because they don't have empathy. And without empathy, how then do you create intimacy? And how then do you have a connection with somebody? So who were you truly having sex with? At the end of the day, we don't even know who these people are. We don't even know. They lied about everything. They stay lying. And so, who are we having sex with? And so, at that point, we would have to just be comfortable with walking away and not actually, and recognizing that no, this was not the person for us. And we have to, ask God for the forgiveness, ask Him to cleanse our sexual palate, ask Him to take away what we thought were our sexual preferences that were developed by this entity that was actually sent to destroy you, to hurt you. There was nothing positive that the narc could offer you at all. And, I know a lot of the times, it feels like, oh, but, it was so good or whatever. No, they were delivering somebody else, and it's our own desire for that intimate connection that makes it feel good. And that's that thing about toxic sex. It can seem like it's enjoyable, but it's because there's something lacking in us. And so when we get that connection, when we get that time, when we get that perceived intimacy, but it's all a lie. And so take a look at it through that lens and see, if that helps you start dealing with the frustration. And it's going to take a lot of prayer, sometimes fasting, and truly looking at yourself with a new lens. What is it that I want out of life? What do I have to offer? How do I now value my body? And how am I going to protect my body? Your body is such a gift to the person who actually deserves you. So now let's start thinking about it like everything that I have here is valuable. Raise the standard in your mind on how you look at your own self and start protecting your body that way. And maybe that will help you start dealing with the sexual frustration, because that's how I started to look at it and start viewing myself. And then I just started saying like, oh, so even when you feel like, I'm tired of being alone, or I wouldn't mind somebody, but I don't have the energy or the time to give of myself to another person who doesn't value me, quite possibly, or who is ultimately not the right person, because who has time to keep having to break soul ties? Who has the time to keep having to nurse a broken heart? Because here's the thing, when we start getting involved with other people intimately, what we're essentially doing, especially as women, when we start liking people and we start having intimate moments, not just like sex itself, but like the touching, holding, kissing, and just the feelings of liking somebody, our body releases the drug oxytocin, which again is a dopamine. So what oxytocin is, it's a bonding agent, it's a bonding chemical. And it makes you feel like you are drawn to this person, or that it fosters a connection that if we would pull back a little bit, we'll be able to assess that person a bit better. That kind of like clouds our judgment sometimes, or it causes us to have a false sense of connection with somebody, when it might not just be there, but it's the effects of the drug. So Google oxytocin and read up and learn about that drug and how it works against mostly women, in new relationships. So, we have that as well as our own dreams. And then, the things that we tell ourselves and that they're telling us that work against us. But just guard your body. Know that your body is such a gift that you just can't give it to anybody. And so, even in those sexually frustrating moments, what I learned to do or what I ended up doing. And it's something that I think we have, if we're going to be overcomers, if we're going to just be honest with each other. For me, I started writing about what I felt. I started writing to who I wanted to give my body to, who I wanted to have those intimate moments to. So I just started writing to him and sharing my thoughts. And one day, maybe he'll read it, maybe he won't, but you've got to guard yourself because it's crazy out here and not everybody has your heart, your hearts or the best interest of your hearts on their mind. And so don't just give yourself away casually, because not only is it like, okay, we've got diseases out there, we've got liars, we've got all types of people, but we also have these soul ties that are hard to break. And every person that you sleep with, essentially you are sleeping with who they've slept with. So be careful about that. Your body is a gift and it's not for everybody. So I don't know if that answers your question, but that's what I have on that. I'm trying to make it make sense. All right, so I'm trying to find the next question. Hi, Tanya, Miss Forbes, welcome. Thank you for joining us. Hi, everybody on Facebook. I see y'all. So the comments don't pop up on here, so I had to use my phone tonight for that. Okay, so Nikki Love has a question. She says, this might sound so silly, but has anyone heard of a narc calling you Oprah? He constantly called me Oprah. Much respect to her, but the way he said it made me feel insulted. Has anyone ever experienced that the narc will call you something else? My ex used to call me Angie Stone. And I would say, what? And he would call me Angie Stone. And I would be like, okay, but then go ahead and diss Angie Stone. I don't know. But, the way you said, like, he constantly called me Oprah, but the way he said it made you feel insulted. And, it depends on who you talk to. Not everybody likes Oprah. And so I think they do that as trying to compliment you, but be shady about the way that they're doing it. So it's not truly a compliment. It's just them it's just them being narcs again. It's just them being crazy. I didn't plug in my charger, so my battery is draining. So give me a sec. There we go. I'm back. Yeah, but I never understood that too. But the level of discussion here is excellent. Well, thank you, Marcelo. I appreciate that. Thank you so much, Joyce, for commenting on this. You're welcome, Nikki. But, it never makes sense. But again, we can't really look at narcissists to make sense because their logic is totally illogical. There is no logic when it comes to a narcissist. You got to remember that with these creatures, they have black and white thinking. So it's either it's all black or it's all white. It's all good or it's all bad. I'm either for you or I'm against you. But there is no middle ground. There's like, you're either, if the narc sees you as succeeding in their mind, they're failing. And so that's why they do the most. They start lying, they start the crazy making, they start the lying, they start the smear campaigns to get everybody to believe their version of reality. So there is no logic when it comes to these creatures, and you drive yourself crazy trying to figure them out. There is nothing. Oh. Warrior Bride says, my ex called me Queen Bee. This was his mom. He had issues with his mom and projected it on me. They project. And here's the interesting thing. A lot of times you'll find, like, I came across this comment, right, on this guy had this video on TikTok, and he was saying something like, you can't tell these women anything. Men are not supposed to share things with their women because women will always use it against you, and turn you, make you out to be a bee, blah 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 blah, and all this. But my thought about it was like, sir, we're supposed to be able to be a safe space for our partners to share what they're feeling and what's going on in their lives. I thought that was pretty toxic from a relationship coach, sharing that information, because how then do you build intimacy with the person that you're in a relationship? How then do you start fostering a safe space for each other when you can share? And so my immediate thought was, I wonder what his relationship is like with his mother, because it seems, and this is just my thinking, that there was a problem there, just like you were stating here, Warrior Bride. If he was not able to talk to his mother to share, like, hey mom, this is what I'm going through, or how do I handle this situation, without the mother gaslighting, without the mother mocking and belittling him, and then just leading him down the wrong path, how then is he able to view women or his woman as a safe place, as somebody that he can totally bare his soul to, when the primary woman in his life was the complete opposite? And this is the same for us ladies. Like, when women are not able to share with their fathers comfortably, or even have a healthy relationship with them, how then does that, how then do you have a healthy relationship with the man in your life? And this is why so many people actually have to go back and reparent themselves. And if you find yourself in that situation where you are struggling, trusting your partner, or being able to open up and be vulnerable and share with them, or just feel like, I don't trust anybody. A lot of people will say, what was that song? They were like, you can't trust these, whatever, these women. Then maybe it's time for you to go back and heal your own wounds, because it's not about us women, it's about you. It's not a where, why do you hang out with those type of people? There's a reason why you sit in those circles all the time, because you're comfortable there. And so guys, we've got to be willing to really address our core wounds. We have to be willing to say, like, listen, I've got to, I want better, and so I'm going to do better. I'm going to step back, and I'm going to do the work to heal so that I can move on. So I'm going to go ahead and attach, when this video is done, I'm going to go ahead and attach in the comment section the video that I did on reparenting yourself. If this is for, if you're watching and you feel like this is something that you need to do, I do share some steps on how you can go about reparenting yourself. And it's not to say that you had bad parents, or but you may have some additional work that needs to be done, and you can go ahead and do, because our parents, they only do what they know how to do a lot of the times. Some don't see anything wrong with their toxic behavior, and that's because it's just part of them. I was in part of a discussion where one mother said that she was not going to protect her children. She didn't care if they were being molested. She didn't care if they were being beaten. She didn't care about none of that, because nobody cared when it was happening to her. So obviously that mom has some work that she needs to do too, so that she can heal, but so do her children and whoever else has been exposed to that thinking. And it just speaks to the level of hurt, not the, not necessarily the intent, but the hurt that they have. You only do better when you know better. And so, we do know better. We have more resources. We are having conversations that our parents couldn't have. We're no longer sweeping things under the rug. We are now here to lift up the rug and start sweeping out that dirt, because we want something different. It can't remain like this anymore. And so I challenge you all, even if you find that I'm in a healthy place, still reparent yourself, still take the steps, because all you're going to do essentially is edify who you already are. So there's that. So I'm going through the comments. Yes. Hi, Susie, and welcome back. And you're correct. They absolutely do project. So looking for the next comments here. Okay, so it's always a matter of his envy of your wisdom filled spirit. Goes to show how much goodness and refreshing lies in your unique process, in your unique presence. Walk confidently in that. Absolutely. Thank you for sharing that, Adrena. And you guys, thank you so much for, for edifying each other, for encouraging each other, and for uplifting each other. It's so beautiful to watch this and to be able to go back in comments like, I was out last week and y'all didn't let me miss a beat because you were there for each other. And so I really do appreciate that. Thank you so much. Here's you, let your yes be yes and your no be no. Not my words, but the Lord's. Absolutely. That is a scripture. Let your yes be yes and your no be no. And that's really what it is. And let's even take it, let's look at it this way. When you tell yourself, like, yes, I want to heal, yes, I'm going to do the work, then let your yes be yes. That doesn't mean that it's going to be an easy walk. It doesn't mean that it's going to take away temptation. Temptation is still going to come by because the narc is always going to be the narc, always going to be the narc. But keep saying yes to yourself. Even when you feel like I don't have the energy, continue to tell yourself yes. And the very things that you said, I'm going to say no to, continue to say no to those things. It's all for your own good. And it's all for, to make your future self happy, to make your future self, you know, proud of who you are and to reach that version of yourself. We've always got to continue to work towards becoming that version of ourselves. I'm looking at this comment by Warrior Bride, and she's like her ex-husband, told her who he was. But that's, if you listen carefully, they're always going to reveal things about their authentic identity. When they start telling us things like, I hate you, or here's one thing that I came across, like, was another comment from earlier on today where she was trying to figure out, the narc said to her, she struggles with fertility issues, and the narc said to her after discarding her that, oh, you know what, I'm with this person now and she's everything that you're not. Her stuff works and we're about to start a family and I'm so happy over here and you couldn't give me this type of joy. Okay, first of all, how insensitive, but it's typical. This is what they're going to do. They're going to kick you where it hurts the most. And what I ended up sharing with her was my own story. Like, back in 2005, and I pretty much went through that by myself. And obviously it was difficult, but it wasn't until my ex was trying to make his way back in. They always hit below the belt. It wasn't until he was trying to make his way back in that he started saying, oh, I really wonder what our child would have been like. I wonder what our son would have been like. Would he look like me or would he look like you? Dude, first of all, how dare you? But this is them. This is when they really reveal the depths of their character and who they truly are. So when they're telling you things about how much they hate you, that's the truth. That's who they are. And that's when you've got to pay attention to that and believe them when it comes to that. Okay, so I see Shar is here today. Thank you for joining us, Shar. So how's the book going? How far are you, and when can we get your book? Like, what's going on? Can you keep us updated on that, on the progress that you have made? And thank you for your time. Thank you for joining us here tonight. Okay, question number two. Question number two, what if you divorced the narcissist? What encouragement would you give divorced girls, knowing the Bible says, I'm so glad you asked this question. The Bible does say no to divorce. It absolutely does. It absolutely does. It does. God hates, in fact, it goes on to say God hates divorce, right? But one thing the Bible never says is that God hates you. In fact, in scripture after scripture, in passage after passage, he tells you that he loves you. He calls you the apple of his eye. He loved you so much that he sent his son to die on Calvary's cross for you. God also did not create you to be a doormat. He created you in his image after his likeness. He didn't create you to be He didn't create you to be in relationship with the devil. He absolutely did not. So, I struggled with this a lot. I really did, because at that point I was trying to grow in my faith, and I'm trying to raise children who would actually, have their own relationship with God. But then here we go. The whole church was, the church was saying that, oh, but God hates divorce. And so I stayed in this thing. But a lot of times what happens is they don't know what's going on behind closed doors. God does not want you dead, murdered. God does not want you emotionally dead. God does not want the children that you are raising to be subjected to this wickedness and to this evil and to live in terror. That was not his intention when he created you. And so, furthermore, when you are married and you're married to somebody who is like this, number one, it's not a I want to ask you, who put that marriage together? Because the word, we know that they say that whatever God joins together, whatever God brings together, let no man put asunder. Well, first of all, did God put you together? Because if I can be perfectly honest, and I love being transparent because maybe you've been there, I remember the red flags going off, all the confirmation that I ever needed. Don't marry this man. But I sure went ahead and I did it because I did what I wanted to do. Like I said earlier, I was so prideful. I got this. I'll leave when when I'm ready to, or whatever. Yeah, but you know, there were so many consequences to my choice. I had to step up and deal with the consequences of the choices that I made. God never put us together. I did. The two of us fools put us together. It was the blind leading the blinds. And so even if you want to say, like, okay, we know, like, God had does everything in decency and order. There's structure, right? There is the husband, the wife, the children. Everything in his kingdom has decency and order. So if the husband has given his role in Ephesians 5. He is to love his wife as Christ loved the church. The wife is to submit to her husband as unto the Lord. Now, if he loves his wife as Christ loved the church, that means it's a sacrificial love. Christ loved the church so much that he laid down his life and died. A husband should be willing to do that for his wife. The wife should in turn be willing to be submissive to her husband, not because he's her husband, because it says, submit to your husbands as unto the Lord. This is done out of her relationship to God. And God is saying this to her because he knows that this man loves her so much that he would lay down his life for her. So if he loves her with that type of love, that sacrificial love, then her submitting would come naturally because he has her very best interest at heart. But if he's a narcissist, psychopath, sociopath, he is not going to do that. That means he is not operating in the God's divine order. He's operating in the kingdom of darkness. So out right there, none of that is covered. And by all means, walk out. Walk out. Don't waste your time. Get out of there. Because at the end of the day, okay. One thing, the one thing that truly woke me up, right? That truly said to me, no more. My kids walked, my kids walked in and their dad was choking me. Like, I've talked about it here. He had his knees in my chest and he was choking me. Like, I would have died if it was not for my daughter calling 911 and my son jumping on his dad's back and beating him. But what did his dad do? Kicked him off and threw him in the wall. So no, that's not what God wants for our children. That's not God wants for us. And that's not how life should be. Marriage is a beautiful thing. And, if you have whatever you studied, or whatever you've encountered in your marriages, please take the time to heal. Please take the time to forgive yourself for the choices that you've made and truly heal from all of it, because that was not love. And love doesn't do those things. And, take the time to get to know yourself, know what you want. That's why it's important that when you come out of these relationships, you step back and begin to work on yourself so that you can figure out, who am I? Because the truth is, there's a disconnect that happens to us when we're in these relationships. And a lot of the times, you hear people say things like, I want to go back to who I was, to the old me. But the truth is, that person no longer exists. You cannot go back to the old you, because the old you now has new experiences, and the old you has been forced to grow, to learn, and to evolve in another way. And so all you can continue to do is to move forward and get to know who you are now. Get to know who you are with these experiences that you've had, so that you can, reach the highest version of yourself and not chase an expired version of yourself. No longer seek going backwards. It says, forget those things that are behind us and reach for what is ahead of us, right? And so we are pressing. So you gotta move forward, but free yourself, forgive yourself, and also, ask for forgiveness for that pride, because it does hold us back. But that's how I would answer that. And I hope that makes sense. I hope that it answers your question. So Richard M says, looking back, my ex narc did let slip, did she indicated who she truly is. They always do. They always do, every now and then. But the problem is that we step in trying to be the savior of the narc, Jesus Jr., and trying to, oh, that's not what they meant. Oh, maybe it's me, maybe it's that. No, that's who they are. And that's true. They use their children. Narcissists are notorious for that. They don't love their children. They don't care. Children are just like, they're accessories, just like these earrings. There is no difference. They are pure accessories. They do not care about those kids. They don't care about them. They don't care about them at all. At all. They don't love the kids. And for some people, that's really hard to understand. That why how can you say that the narcissist doesn't love their kids? First of all, they don't love themselves, and so you can't pour from an empty vessel. They are an empty vessel. They lack that empathy, so there's no love that is generated within these people. And that's why I tell you, like, these guys are soul hunters. They go and they mirror everybody around them. And it's not just the people that they're intimate with. They're mirroring their bosses, they're mirroring their coworkers, because they've got to siphon different personalities and figure out what is going to make me look like the best person that I can be. And they will always give out, little pieces of this and that. So even they watch other people interacting with their children to see, oh, okay, this is what other parents are doing. And so in front of an audience, now they show, now they present who they feel like they need to be in those moments. So, no, no, they use their children. So Shar says the book is going good. She's working on the last chapter, so it's almost finished. Well, we are excited, Shar. We cannot wait to hear, read what you have been working on. So thank you so much, and keep us posted. I'm looking for more questions or comments. Hi, Leah. Thank you so much for that. Um, yep. Here, Nikki says something true. It says most narcs are unfaithful. Not all, but guess what? Your marriage is defiled from the day you say I do, because you marry Satan. God freed me safely. Divorce, please. Yep. You know, it's again, it's a transaction ship. It's not true marriage. It's fraudulent, from just like the relationship itself. And even if we take it like that, if we go to that, if we take it there, and we start right there at the beginning, when the narc meets people, they actually pray. They, just like, in Job, it said the enemy was roaming to and from to see whom he could devour. That's how the narc, looks for partners, their targets. That's not how marriage starts. But this already had an ill intent from the very get-go. So no, you can sure walk away from that. You absolutely can walk away from that. Oh, okay. So here, wish I could go back and do my life over. Trust, disobedience has made my life depressed. Listen to God's laws. You know, I understand what you were saying because I've had those moments where where I felt like I just wish I could do life over because of the mistakes that I've made, because of the time that I've wasted. But guess what? It's not time wasted unless we choose to look at it like that. Your life is precious even with all of those mistakes. Your life is precious and valuable even with all the wrong turns and all of our disobedience and all of just our ways. It's still important, but the beauty of it is that you can still start afresh every day. We don't have to go back because what's most important now is what lies ahead of you. What's most important now is what you do with the time that you have. What's most important now is how you process what you've been through and how you allow that to be a springboard for you, or how you let that be, push you forward and work towards the better version of yourself. It's, how are you going to get to the heavenly version of who you truly are? Because if I didn't get involved with a narcissist, right, I wouldn't be sitting here today being able to share with anybody about what this is. And goodness knows what I'd be doing. I don't know. But I use that experience. What the enemy meant for good, God turned it around. I mean, what the enemy meant for evil, God turns around for our good, for good. And so you can always go back into whatever has happened to you, whatever your story is, going right back to the beginning and asking God, what do you want me to do with all of this? Because I say this a lot. God is an economist. He wastes absolutely nothing. None of your experiences are ever wasted. But if we allow him to do a work in and through us, he is going to birth something beautiful out of us. We know that the word says that we overcome by the blood of the Lamb and the word of our testimony, we overcome. So by the blood of the Lamb, right, with him, the word of our testimony. So even with our testimony, even when we talk about what we've experienced, we continue to overcome, but we are helping others overcome. So we have to have a story. We all have a story, and our stories are colorful. No matter what road we take, no matter what path we take, don't don't ever discredit your experiences, the good, the bad, and the ugly, because when all those pieces come together, it creates a mosaic, and it's a beautiful reflection of God's grace, of his goodness, of his faithfulness, of your story, of the legacy that you are going to leave behind. So just continue to move forward and free yourself from thinking that I wasted my time. We all did, but that's okay. God's a redeemer of even time. So it's okay. You're still on time and in time. And so we're just going to continue to move forward and trust that, something better lies ahead. Okay, so Lee gave us some scriptures to read. 1 Corinthians 7:12 through 16, 2 Corinthians 6:14, and Matthew 5:31 to 32. So I'm going to come back and get these so I can read and see what they are saying. Okay, so True Comma says, not every married individual cheats, but every married narc does cheat. Hope that makes sense. It makes perfect sense. Every married narcissist cheats. I don't know one who doesn't. They cheat emotionally, physically, financially, spiritually. They all cheat. There's a level to this. They are all cheating. They all cheat. They all cheat. They all cheat. That's all I can say about that. So thank you so much for, highlighting that fact. They definitely do all cheat. Leaving a narcissist is equal to leaving the devil. And I had to highlight this because, hello, let's speak about how difficult it is to leave. Let's talk about how there's the draw to always come back. Do you think that the devil would let anybody just walk away all freely, hey, it's up to me to leave when I want to leave? No, they fight you. He's going to fight you because he sees everything that is, all your fine qualities. And essentially, the narc is sent by the devil. Let's not even forget that. And the devil knows how valuable you are. His only hope is that you don't know how valuable that you are. And that's why the narc comes along to systematically wipe out your view of yourself, to erase your identity and give you a false one. A lot of the times, that's why people end up believing the words of the narcissist: you're no good, you'll never be anything, oh, you'll be nothing without me, you need me, without me, you will not survive. How many of you heard those things? They want you to believe this so that you stay indoctrinated to their way of thinking, to their cult, to that culture that they have, so that essentially at the end of the day, you will serve their master. And that's why they work hard to keep you in that camp. So, this is absolutely true. They are, it's the last person they were with. It's a collection, really, because it's just a collection of all the souls that they entangle themselves with, but they are truly monsters. Absolutely. I agree with you wholeheartedly. Let me ask you guys this. This makes me think, Charlotte says that God put my life back together. No blessing with the narc, many blessings without him. I know God stands with me daily. When you look at your life, right, and when you look at your personal experience with, that you encountered with the narc, and you compare the difference of your life before and after, how many of you notice a drastic change in your life? Like, I know with my life felt like it was stuck, like it just felt so stagnant, not even just stagnant, but like regressive. When I was with this person, I could never catch a break. I could never gain any wind and move forward. But that's not my story anymore. It's almost like the floodgates of heaven literally opened up, and I'm able to do so much more and move forward. And I think that says a lot, that we get away from the presence of evil and are able to just encounter something different, because nothing good can come. Sometimes your blessings are purposely withheld because of the company that you keep. Nothing will come out of it anyway because of the company that you keep. And so, I think that's why a lot of the times we experience a windfall afterwards. My narcissist was surprised. I divorced him and found strength to leave him. And that's one thing that they never truly expect, because the narcissist works so hard to make you feel like you need me, and makes sure that their life or your life evolves around them. That's why it's always about them. It can never be about you. If you have the nerve to start a business, well, who do you think you are? Your business not going to thrive. You're such a dummy. You should have invested in my business instead, or do any and everything to absolutely belittle you to the max. But they never ever think that you leave, because again, they underestimate your strength. They underestimate your tenacity. They underestimate the fact that, listen, there truly is a God who has your back and won't stand by for you to be, pimped out like that. Like, nah. Nope, narc, it's time for you to go. And when it's time for you to go, it's time for you to go. Here's a song: Free Your Mind and the Rest Will Follow. I do remember that. Thank you for reminding me about that, Carletta. Does anybody else remember that song? I do. I absolutely do. So Shar discarded the narc before he was ready. And that's one thing. That's when you start seeing them scramble, and then they have to make do with pity supply, because they have to just grab onto whatever so that they can make you feel like you were the problem. And this is what happens a lot of the times, because, when the narc is discarded, when the discard is reversed, right? And they are the ones who are discarded, they have to now give out the image that the problem was with you. And that's for everybody. That's for the audience, that the people that the narc is performing for. They have to make them believe that you were the problem, and so they grab onto anything. And that's when we see them with, they end up going for the low hanging fruits, and it ends up showing in their choice of supply. That's right, thank you. And Vogue, that's who it is. Absolutely, yeah. And they truly do believe this love, peace. They think we will die without them. But like, listen, at one point, a lot of the times we thought that we could not live without these creatures, but we are still living. Look at us. We are still living. We're still breathing. Nobody's, without. Nobody's lacking here. We have more peace. We have tranquility everywhere around us because we don't have that confusion anymore. So, you know, yeah. Marcelo says that the narcs always choose the best people. They truly do aim for the best people, but that's not always what happens to them, because these guys sometimes, not all that glitters is gold. So while something may look shiny and fancy to the narc, they'll later find out that, it's not always the case, and that's when they end up with that low grade supply. But their goal is always get that fine grade, that superior supply, and that will lie with the super empath. And that, I believe, like, when an empath is still asleep and they truly wake up and do the work to heal and recover, they gain that power to become the super empath, and then they can soar higher and out of the narc's grasp. And the narc will always look back and say, dang it, I let that go. And the narc will never take their eyes off of you. They'll never just give it up so easily, or give up so easily, because they have to find a way to make amends, or make things, or get you back into their camp. So hi, Cassandra from Nashville, thank you for coming by and checking in. We hope that you are doing well, and thank you so much for joining us tonight. So let's see, what else is there here that we can talk about? Yep, that monster was hoovering me hard. He got served with a temporary restraining order. The judge didn't make it permanent. I said she was one of those monsters. She was on his side, and that does happen a lot. Sorry that, it went that way. But, and that's one of the truths, is that we don't always get it to go the way that we want it to go. And so it's really important that you fortify yourself, that you remain strong mentally, emotionally, physically, get into the best financial shape that you can, so that you don't have to go back, that you don't, feel like, oh, well, the narc provided for me in these areas that I can't by myself. The narc wants any type of loophole to be able to get you back in. And it's not that they have that epiphany for you to, for them to be better to you. Their goal is just to destroy you. When you get away, when that super empath gets out of their reach, their goal is always get you back. They will tell you anything. I mean, they will sell you the sky and the stars if they could, and tell you whatever it is, whatever they feel like you need to hear, or what you want to hear, so that they can get you back and they can finish the job. Because ultimately, when you get away, they do get punished. They do get to experience a lot of sadness, a lot of sorrow, depression. They end up in that collapsed state, and they're jealous and all of that. And, they're tormented, really, because how dare you have a super empath in your reach, and you mess up to that degree that they're able to go and soar. And look at them, she's glowed up, he's got his everything together again. And yeah, you're not at all at any type of peace when this happens. And so, they're gonna try so hard to get you back. Hello, Betty Boo's sister from London. How are you? And isn't it like 3 a.m. where you are? So thank you so much for joining us. You are so appreciated. Absolutely. We are focusing on ourselves, and whoever the narc ends up with, that's their business. But our focus is on us and getting better and healing and getting to that, that heavenly version of ourselves so that we can be who we were created to be and moving forward. So even though, that pain from that breakup, that pain from the discard can be so it can be a lot to move on from. It's not impossible. And have grace for yourself, have some compassion towards yourself as you heal and you move forward, because life does get better and there is so much more for you afterwards. Hold up. So Betty Boo Sister says, the more I watch videos on narcissism, the more I don't want to risk getting married. Is this normal? I think, a lot of people do feel that way when there is still some more work or some more healing that needs to be done, because it's not that everybody is a narcissist. And I think as we begin to develop more self trust, more self awareness, and be just more confident within ourselves about the choices that we're making in everyday life, as well as with the people that we're interacting as friends and who we are choosing to be in relationships with, when we are able to trust that we're making good, healthy, sound decisions, are those feelings of not wanting to get married because we might not make the best choices for ourselves begin to go away, because now we trust that we're integrated adults at this point. So we are trusting ourselves and our choices, our judgments, that if something doesn't seem right from the beginning, we will walk away, because it's not that there are no signs that this person was a narcissist from early on. The signs were there. It's just that we explained them away. We chose to turn the other way. We ignored those red flags. But once that work is done and you've truly done the work to heal, and a lot of the times, you'll see things like, oh, you'll see people say stuff like, oh, if you're still healing, then you don't deserve to be dating, or you don't need to be in love. But I want to challenge that a little bit, because there is no perfect person. There is no person that has everything absolutely all together. I think we are all on a journey, but you have to have done some work. You have to be doing work, and you have to be advanced in your journey, and be fully self aware, and have a level of respect for who you are. You have your boundaries in place, knowing that, listen, my boundaries are not just to sound cute that I have boundaries. Nobody else needs to respect my boundaries, because my boundaries are there to protect and to preserve who I currently am, as well as who I'm becoming. And so, if anybody violates my boundaries, I'm not going to sit here and discuss options on what the recourse should be on for you violating my boundaries, because I already have that figured out within myself. And so, my personal constitution deserves to be honored. And the only person that is going to do that is me. And so when you're able to say that to yourself and step up and act in that fashion, then absolutely it's time. You know, what I would say, like with myself, I've done work, and I still feel like there's still more that I need to do, right? But as much work as I've done, I deserve somebody to be here to live life with, to enjoy life with. And so yeah, I want somebody, but at the right time, they'll come along too, and we can continue doing the work together. And I think, when we're able to be totally transparent and honest with the person that we are with, it creates another level of intimacy and brings us closer to one another. But allow things to take time. One thing about relationships and with love and all of those feelings is that infatuation stage can really last anywhere from 18 to 24 months. And so if we are rushing these things, if we are rushing decisions and choices, and let's move in together, let's have a baby, let's get married, we miss a lot of things, because we're still in that phase where the oxytocin is still high. We're still high off of it. So afford yourself the ability or the opportunity to truly assess who you're engaging and interacting with, when you're totally dried out of infatuation. So sometimes that even means, let me step back. Let me consciously, or let me be fully aware that I'm stepping back to fully assess this person. Is he or is she truly as wonderful as they are presenting, or is this a projection? How do I feel? There's so many signs that go off within our body, indicators within our internal system that will let us know something's not right here. And how do you respond to those? Are you going to explain them away? But be truly willing to just be honest and take time. Love is there. Love is out there, but you have to be ready for it. So take the time that you need, and allow yourself to fully vet this person, fully qualify who they are before, before allowing anything to truly start blossoming. Because when you've done all this work, y'all, it's a lot of work to heal and to recover. And you're such beautiful people. And I'm not talking about the external, but on the inside, you have so much to offer other people, so much to offer somebody who's looking for you. So, don't just shut down because of the experience of these creatures. They're actual creatures. So don't turn off what God gave you, the ability to love and to create life and to share your life with somebody out of fear that you're going to make a bad choice. No, heal, step aside. No, don't worry about your phone is dry. Don't worry that nobody's reaching out to you. None of those things. Don't concern yourself with those things. Don't worry about booty calls. We shouldn't be worried about that at all. None of that. Do the work to heal. Focus on yourself. And I think once you've really invested in yourself in that regard, then I think, open up yourself to, the possibility of meeting somebody and sharing your life with them. Oh, I see there was a poor Tink Tink over here. I missed something in these comments. What did Tink Tink do? These Tink Tinks are always up to something. Poor Tink Tink. Cassandra says something, she says, I just stopped talking to the narc because he hurt me down in my soul. And this is where I was. Once I got an awareness to, oh, this is what this is. Oh, this is what he was doing. I felt like so violated, like, oh, so you really thought that you were going to run your game on me and I'm hurting because of a lie? And it takes a moment to wrap your mind around that. But once I did that, I kind of just said, you know what, I'm out. And, I would always, like, when I would fall, when I find myself ruminating, I'll be like, but that guy lied to you. Nothing was real from the moment he met you. Like, he chose you to play these games on, and here you are offering the very best parts of yourself. No, and that was my only response, is to shut down from that person completely, knowing that this is the truth. And so if that was the truth, and the only way that I can break this or start breaking that trauma bond is going no contact, then I had to be a boss at that. Because for me, it was just like, there is no way that I can let you think that I was this weak, or that I was that kind of fool, that you would really think that you were going to play me. You were really going to tell these lies and run like that. I was just like, nah. And I had to, I had to shut it down, because it hurts you so deep in your soul. And that was the only response that I could, that I had for that. So More Than a Conqueror makes a really good point that, there are narcs everywhere, and it's all over. It's in every country, every nation on earth, in every sphere of life. Corporate America, churches, families. I mean, everywhere. Where there's people, there's narcissists. And that's just one of those things. They're always going to be there. Thank you so much for that. And it's going to take all of us really to continue to share share this message and spread the awareness to those, that we interact with, and when we see it, that we speak up, because there is so much work that needs to be done, and there are so many people who are still in the dark about that. But I thank you so much for being part of this community, and for what you do in this community, and how you continue to also shine your lights in those that are around you. Oh, this is such a great point. Make your boundaries part of your identity. You know who you are. And that's so true. Your boundaries are not always, they're not going to look like everybody else's boundaries. Your boundaries have to be personal to you. You have to customize them to yourself. What works for me might not work for you. So it's important that you really evaluate yourself. Like, who am I? What has my past looked like? What are the areas that I struggle with? Do I know how to say no? Do I, why do I say yes? Why do I do the things that I do? What makes me happy? What are my future goals? Where do I see myself in 2 weeks? Where do I see myself in 3 months? Where do I see myself in 6 months, 1 year, 5 years, 10 years? Build your boundaries to protect that. Build your boundaries to preserve that, so that you can get to those parts, so that you can see yourself reaching the highest version of yourself. But it has to be customized. It has to be, it's like that perfect dress that you want customized, that suit that you want tailored to fit nobody but you. It's like Cinderella's slipper, if we can say that. It has to be, customized to that. So they're not going to look like what it looks like for everybody else. Okay, so I'm just taking a look here. Thank you so very much, Candice. I saw your super sticker. I appreciate you and your kindness, as well as support for this community. Um, yeah, I'm just taking a look here for more comments. Okay, so here goes. Where's Jamaican Barbie? Jamaican Barbie says, I'm currently thinking about seriously launching my book, and I know people are going to drop out of my life even more, and that's okay. If this is something that's in you to do, then you have to do it. You have to birth your baby, and you've got to do what you have to do to protect your baby. It's hard to watch people that you love and you care about fall away from you, walk out of your life and choose something else. But it's also interesting that people do come into your life at the same time to support not just who you currently are, but to support the future version of who you are going to be, and they help you get to where you are supposed to be. So sometimes people, they've served their time in our lives, and we've got to be, we got to let them go, because if they can't help you get to where you're going, that's fine. That's why new people will come into your life. Sometimes, I can only hold so much in my hand. So the people who are attached to my destiny won't fit in my hand if it's full of the people that I need to let go, because they've served their time, and it's time for them to get that eviction notice anyway. So it's okay, and it can be painful, but continue to work towards who you are supposed to be. Continue to honor where you are going, and it's going to be, it is going to be okay. And I know, I'm speaking from my own experience. Like, yeah, it's not easy, but it's okay. It's okay. Ooh, here's a good comment. Nikki Love says, my therapist told me something today I want to share, y'all. He said, don't just protect your peace, protect your effort. I didn't understand it at first, but he meant protect how far you've come. There you go. There you have it. um, preserve and to protect who you currently are. So think about what you've done to get to this point, the knowledge that you've learned, everything that you've sacrificed, all the tears that you've shed, the enlightenment that you now have, all of that, protect it because that is your effort. And, knowledge also, and use it to help you go forward. Shar says, do a video on the holiday hoover. I'll drop it. I was thinking about one, and so I'll go ahead and do it. You'll have it this week. And speaking of holiday hoover, just to remind you, not about a hoover, but Thanksgiving morning from 9 to 11, I'm doing a moment of gratitude. And that's going to be a Zoom. The information is on the community tab. So you can go over there for the Zoom meeting ID as well as the password. It's Central Standard Time. We can go on there. You can come as fine as you want to. You can come up in your pajamas. You can be guaranteed you will see me in my pajamas on Thanksgiving morning because I'm not getting up to get dressed. I'm still going to be half asleep. And I'm going to come on with my coffee, bring your breakfast, bring whatever you want. But it's just so that, because I know holidays can be difficult for some people. Some are experiencing it alone for the first time. Some, are just sad during that time. But if you would like to join me for a moment of gratitude, then come on and join me on Thursday morning. Again, 9 a.m. to 11 Central Standard Time. Information is on the community tab. And this is for us. It's got nothing to do with the narc. We are celebrating each other. We are having a moment with one another. And we are going to leave these creatures out of the conversation so that we can just be grateful for who we are, and where we are going in life. So I hope that you can join us. And I'll be back on here on Sunday so that we can continue having this discussion. But I want to thank you so much for your time tonight. I always have a wonderful time with you all. I enjoy the time that we have together, and I appreciate you taking time out of your evening to spend with me. I am going to go ahead and probably play Monopoly with the kids. That's our favorite game. And yeah, so we're going to have some family time now, but I thank you so much for being here. Continue to do the work to get better. Continue to protect yourself. Continue to honor your personal constitution. Continue to define your personal constitution, and always know that there is more in life, and that the narc, they lied. Who they said you are, that's not who you are. I challenge you to dive into the word so that you can see who God says that you are for yourself. And so if you do join me on Thursday, I would like you to tell me who you are. And I mean, who you are. Who does God say you are? I want to hear stuff like that, so that we can support each other and, you know, encourage each other. Because listen, I'm going to challenge you. When you start sharing about this is what I'm doing, I'm going to come back. Like, I'm not getting off Shar. Like, she has a book, she said she's on her last chapter. Okay, so we're going to see, Shar, we waiting to read this book. So it's about holding each other accountable so that we can move forward and do the things that we are supposed to do and move from one dimension into another. So thank you everybody for being here tonight. I will work on this holiday Hoover video. I'm going to probably drop it in the morning. But have a great evening, everybody. Continue to love yourselves and love each other.